everybody? Welcome back to the TKT podcast, the 2Kill Tom podcast, the favorite podcast of all podcasts on all podcast streaming platforms like Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you want to listen to podcasts on. The TKT podcast is on that podcast streaming platform. Anyways, we are here, episode 46. We are in dark mode tonight. I don't know why. TJ had like no light, or Travis had no light or something. I don't know. And we just decided we're not doing any fucking lights on for the stream
definitely
tonight.
all had option of light. We just
something happened and
against it.
We went this route. Shawna has the most light in the stream. Anyways, before we introduce our special guest, Truly, TJ, Travis, how was y'all's week this week?
Mine was good, Joe. I've been pretty busy with work, but so that's pretty much been it. I haven't really done much lately, but been grinding.
Word. Perfect.
Staying busy, bro. Staying on the course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The golf course, or
no, anything but
unfortunately,
that. Actually,
unfortunately, no, I haven't.
Gotcha.
Yep.
My week has been okay. It's been super busy. Been slammed. Made a 5-hour fucking pulled pork for the first time ever, and it was the most delectable pulled pork I've ever had in my life. Really like getting the hang of this barbecuing thing. Yep. Shout out Dubs, our main sponsor, our only sponsor we've ever had. Shout out Arizona as well for not sponsoring. That's a callback if you remember. Yeah, if anybody listened that long.
That's a deep callback.
Yeah,
holy shit.
I mean, bro, we figured it out tonight. We were calculating because Shawna took forever to join the podcast, which is why we're giving her a late introduction. Is the fact that we have 2,800 minutes of podcasts on all streaming platforms, which is equivalent to 47 hours. So at the end of this podcast, there will be 2 full days worth of listening of the TKT podcast with a few episodes to go, which is fucking insane. Anyways, this week we have a very special guest near and dear to our hearts, Shawna Wilder, a.k.a. my sister, a.k.a. Psycho, a.k.a. the independent variable.
Independent variable is crazy.
Shawna, welcome to the podcast. You are 35 minutes late, which is nothing new for you. Go ahead and introduce yourself, let the chat know, and let the listeners know who you are, what you're doing, and yeah.
Hi, as Kane mentioned, I'm his older sister, the middle child, but that's irrelevant.
Well, he actually said independent variable, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Same thing.
We'll roll with it.
So I don't really know how to introduce myself. It's kind of like when you go to a new job, they ask you to do the same thing. And you
Exactly. This is an interview. Yes.
This is great.
That's what a podcast does when they have guests on.
We're trying to see if you're worthy for a second episode or not.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably not. I don't know what to say. I work for New York State right now for like insurance. That's great. So my week has just been wonderful. I get yelled at all day, every day. Currently back at
That's
home.
dope.
Love that for me. That's really all I have to say, other than Kane's gonna introduce me as Shawna, but like I also go by Carter, so like either or is fine.
Yeah, my bad.
It's fine.
Carter, Logan, your mom, whatever you want to call her. I don't know. I call her Shawna.
What?
So first question, a lot of the questions we have tonight are going to be, I don't want to say pretty similar, but some of the questions are going to be the ones that we asked Hill, just because, I mean, you are my sister, so we want to see how answers compare and ideas and things like that. So what was life like growing up with an older sibling and a younger sibling, and what that was like for you and whatnot and so on?
Well, I know Hillary had mentioned that it was hell for her being the oldest of 2, but like being in the middle, not to be that guy, like middle child syndrome is very real. At that point, I didn't really do much.
What does that mean?
So like middle child syndrome, for lack of a better explanation, you were more into like sports, video games, all of that shit. Hillary was into God fucking knows what, and like country music, all of that. And then you had me right in the middle. I was band geek. I played softball. I did all of like the hella gay shit because I was the gay sibling. So I kind of stuck out like
gay shit.
I stuck out like a sore thumb the majority of our childhood, and you know, listened to different music than everyone else in the family. There was a ongoing joke that I was adopted for a while. That was,
I don't know what you mean by joke, but
so anytime, I don't even know if you were home, we had went to Wally's with Mom, Dad, Hill, and Heather, and one of Mom's friends from work. thought that Heather was the sibling and that I was the friend because I didn't look like everybody else.
You don't really look like mom or dad.
Maybe I was adopted and no one's telling me. I don't know. 26 years later, but maybe one day I'll find out for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
If you find out, could you tell me?
Yeah,
Oh,
could
for
you
sure.
just make sure we have you back on just in case.
Yeah.
That's
We
why.
won't have you back on until we have an answer.
Yeah, just let us know. Keep us posted. So
Keep us posted.
tell us how our life or your life was like growing up and how it's changed so much in terms of family life. How we were close and how we aren't anymore with a lot of our family. I just wanted to get your perspective on that question as well. Also, Matt says hi. Also, huge shout out, Maddie Johnson.
Yes.
Happy birthday, my man. Quick
birthday,
fucking
bro.
interruption. Maddie J, Maddie Johannesson, Mateu, NT's man. Shout out you. Happy birthday, bro.
Matthew Johannesson Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
Maddie frickin' Ice.
Happy birthday, buddy. Huge shout out on episode 46 of the pod. Anyways, back to Shawna.
So
He said, I love you. I love you too.
family life wise,
We all
like
love you.
mentioned, we
Shawna,
were
you didn't
all-
say hi or happy birthday to Matt.
I did say
Yeah,
that.
nothing.
Everyone else
There
was
was.
talking.
Okay,
First
well,
of all-
we're giving you your moment to shine.
Don't do that.
Well, this
Go
is your
ahead.
moment.
It's your time to shine.
Family life wise, yeah.
Still didn't say it.
Sid just
I said, this is your time to shine.
top.
Say it.
Happy birthday.
say.
Okay.
Tell
All
me
right.
love 'em.
Anyways,
Oh
proceed.
my god.
We're good now. We can move on.
Anyway.
Yep.
Family life, as you had mentioned, we were all pretty close when we were younger, but like obviously as we got older, even throughout high school, especially with the age difference between Hillary and I, we all kind of drifted apart. We all had our own interests, but like we tried to maintain a healthy relationship. In terms of like outside family, I'll be completely transparent. I was not really close with a lot of people other than like you, Hillary, mom and dad. Like I didn't really want to venture out and get to know any of them. I didn't really want to be involved at the time. That's just how it was.
Yeah.
But like definitely nowadays, I do feel that you and me and Hillary have gotten at least a little bit closer, even with the distance. We're definitely a lot closer than we were when we were all home.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So like, it's good, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm meant to bring this up when Hill was on the pod too, is like when we would go, so we were really closer with dad's side of the family, just I think it was in part because mom's side of the family is so big. Excuse me,
There's
so
too
big.
many people.
That like
Yeah.
when we would attend that side of the family, say events and stuff, I don't know how you and Hill felt, but like I always felt like not necessarily just didn't know anybody, but even like all the cousins and people that were around our age or even a little bit older or younger, like they all hung out with each other and we were just like, yeah, we're just fucking hanging out, sitting at the table.
Misplaced. Like,
Yeah,
weren't
like we just didn't. I don't want to say we didn't belong because that's some pussy shit, but you know.
But like,
just-
yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
It eventually
Thank God she gets
came
it.
to the point where we just didn't get invited to anything. I'm not sure if you remember where like Hillary and mom would get invitations and I would complain. Not that I wanted to go. I want to make that clear. I did. It was the fact that I wasn't invited that I was mad.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's two other kids.
Yeah, like I got mad love for everybody on that side of the family, obviously, but like it would be like stuff like that where certain people would get invited and they could bring their kids, but like mom and dad couldn't bring us three, or like things like that, you know, where people would just bring their kids, and that might not necessarily be on the person that was hosting the event or anything, but they would bring the 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, and then like me, you, and Hill, like I'm 10, you're 12, and fucking Hill's 16, weren't able to go. Shit like that. But obviously, as we've grown up, like we've become even more grown apart with that side of the family and even like dad's side of the family. So I just want to see what your perspective was like on that. Next question is, tell us about some of the things that you've struggled with through your childhood, teenage years, and like just in general, not necessarily getting into the mental health part yet, but just little things that you might have struggled with in that aspect.
So something that I definitely struggled with when I was younger, as like you and Hillary obviously know, Mayfield is very, very small. There's not very many places to go or people to talk to. with that being said, like the LGBT community is basically non-existent here. So when you're in high school and you're in a class with like 50 kids, everyone knows everything about everybody.
Yeah.
So when I officially came out, not that it was like a shock or a secret to anybody when it happened, it definitely made just school in general very difficult, like to concentrate. I'm not saying Mayfield was like known for bullying people, but like at the time when I came out, being gay was very not confusing for a lot of the people, but mostly everyone I graduated with anyway were very big in the church community, and it was very not a good thing to be existing at that time.
I mean, like, obviously, I can't speak to kids your age and whatever. I mean, we're close in age, but me and Haley have had that talk a lot. Like, if you look at me and Haley's age, and even Travis and TJ's, compared to just 1 or 2 years into like you and Tommy, it is drastically different. Like, in terms of how we all believe, like what we do with ourselves, how we treat ourselves, what people do, and like maybe that's in part because we had older siblings or whatever that were there for us, but like me, who was really good friends with Brian, his older brother is like me and Hill. It's that kind of age gap, and even him, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at me compared to you, or Haley compared to Tommy, or like Travis compared to Chelsea, like that's a little bit different because it's kind of the similar age gap of me and Hill. But
even like
we've talked about it a million times that what happened, you know what I mean? Like your experience in high school, and it wasn't just for you, it was a lot of people in your graduation class, is very different compared to like what I experienced. And that may be different for like Travis and TJ as well compared to me, or TJ specifically. But like kids now obviously have a different experience in high school than we did. I was talking to Jake the other day, they can just leave high school. If they don't have any classes, all they got to do is go over and sign out, or a parent has to call, and they can just dip. Like they can just go home. I don't know like the full extent of those details, but
Right.
I noticed though for me, like it was all very normalized at that point. Like there was no like weirdness, like LGBT wise anyway.
That's what I'm saying. So like for me, it was just like, yeah, we're just
whatever.
They're my friends. Like, you know what I mean? You don't think anything of it. And I think that's what's so weird is like you look at that age difference, and even the year, you graduated 2014? I graduated I don't know why I couldn't just hear a word you said, but I saw your mouth move.
Yeah, that was weird.
I graduated 2 years later, and it's just like the mindset is completely different. And even like now you look at kids going through high school and how open kids are to certain things, and how open the world is to showing kids those things is so crazy to me.
Guys, I gotta head.
Yeah,
Word.
Yeah.
All right, TJ.
Word, buddy.
Have a good night at work, buddy. We're gonna fucking make a live scene switch here. Hold on.
But seeing as I can't do this later.
Bye.
Have a good night, buddy. I gotta get this in
All right,
here
there we
real
go.
quick. Hold on. Add source. Shrink this. I gotta adjust the cameras like live. You guys can keep talking. Just keep booling.
All right, so do I call you Carter, or can I call you Shawna? Or do you not want that? I don't want to be disrespectful.
Question, if that makes sense. Answering that question leaves a lot of room for interpretation. So, like, at this point, just because, realistically, and this is, like, insane for me to say, I started going by a different name almost 10 years ago, which, like, a lot of people don't know because I wasn't very public about it at the time.
Right.
So
Sorry.
The only people that really still call me that are obviously my parents and my siblings, because the name change, regardless that it's been almost a decade, it's going to be difficult for them. But like at this point, if it, I don't know what's going on.
Spotlight's on you now.
If it's easier for you to call me Shawna just because like you've been around,
I'll call you Carter then.
That's fine. But, like, I understand that the transition is difficult, if that makes sense. But, like, we'll get into the whole mental health thing later. Like, I can explain it better.
Yeah, so, like, my thing with that, bro, so, like, It's not that like it's a difficult transition for me because it's not. Like when I hear somebody say like Logan or Carter or whatever, like I know exactly who they're talking about. I just blatantly choose not to like, and it's not like I know you know it's not a disrespectful thing, and it sounds disrespectful, but it's not. Like it's just like that. It makes it feel, I don't know. To me, it makes it feel more special that I call you that because, like, at this point, like, in your perspective, at least it feels that way, that's like your nickname. And that's how it feels to me. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it feels special to call you that because, like, everyone else now knows you as this or whatever. And I can still call you that. And it's like, yeah, get fucked. Like, not in a disrespectful way to you, but in a, hey, yeah, like, my brother still calls me by, like, Shawna because that's. Like,
but even
that's
like
how
most
he
of
knows.
the time, you don't even use the full name. You take the first letter out anyways, so it doesn't make a difference.
What'd you say?
I said most of the time you don't even use like the full name. You take the first letter out anyways, so it becomes like a nickname.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I just want to state that like I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Like obviously.
No, it's fine. It
I
does
just want to
definitely get like difficult, I guess. So for lack of better explanation, Hillary's boyfriend, who I believe was on the podcast last week, when she introduced me to him, she introduced me as Carter, which like typically happens with newer people. Like I don't typically like to go into the whole explanation of the dead.
yeah.
There's no point. Well, recently, because he hears Hillary and like Heather and all of them use the dead name, he kind of caught me off guard the last time I saw him because he said, "Hey, dead name," and I was like,
"What does that mean? Why I feel like that's such a shitty term.
Like, how do you even know about that? First of all, who told you? But like,
I feel like dead name is just such a shitty term, though. Like, I don't like that.
But at the same
time,
I
know what it means. It's just I don't know. I feel like you could just be like, "Hey, don't call me that," instead of like being like, "Oh, he called me dead name." I don't know.
Well, I say dead name just because like I don't like to say the name as a whole because like that's not. That's
yeah,
not
no, I get it.
So it's just easier.
I got you. So again, we spoke a little bit on high school. So what would you say your high school life was like in terms of like extracurriculars, shit like that? I mean, I know, but nobody else knows. Like, yeah, you were in band, but you played softball. Like, you were in drama. Like, what were those things like going through high school? Because that's like that stuff I didn't experience outside of like softball. Like, I didn't go through those things. I got out of band before high school because that shit was dumb. I just want to learn how to play an instrument, and they wouldn't let me just learn.
Yeah, I hated that, bro.
I had to be like in the band, and it's like, no, I just want to learn how to fucking play this shit because it's cool. And then I was in choir and dropped out once Mr. Anchor left because I didn't feel like singing religious songs because that's not music to me. I don't want to sing hymns when I'm in 9th grade. And see, that's the difference too, bro. Like, and I was in 9th grade, or the transition from 8th to 9th grade, and realized like, I don't think this is right. Like, I don't think I should be doing that. You know? So I was like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm not doing that.
Even like with band, I was in band my entire elementary, middle, and high school career. Like, I got in band in 4th grade and stayed with it up until I graduated.
Yeah.
The vast difference between band, because I also did choir, they were both led by two very different people, like vast different personalities. In band, we would play like Michael Jackson. We would learn like Mexican songs. We learned literally everything. I even taught myself how to play different instruments just because realistically the instrument that I learned was the flute, and you can transpose that into like the guitar, etc. Like you can change everything. So when I would go into choir with Mr. Anchor, lit, had a great time. Wonderful.
I don't even know who Mr. Anchor is.
Oh my god, you don't know who Mr.
Oh, that's crazy.
No.
Are you sure?
That's surprising. I mean, he taught music when we were in elementary. Like,
yeah. Nicholas Anchor.
It was before Miss Winters like took over everything.
I know Miss Winters, but I don't remember him.
So he was in elementary and then went to high school. About the same time, like Shawna went to high school.
Yeah.
And then he was only there for like 4 or 5 years, maybe, and then went somewhere else. But he was the DJ at like 95% of our school dances. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
But like the difference between him and then, I'm not going to say names, the choir teacher we got after that was just I felt like I was in church, and it was not something that I wanted to do. When Miss Winters came, it got a little bit better, but like we were also still singing church songs. So I'd have band on like a Monday and choir on a Tuesday, and I'd go from playing actual music and like having a good time, enjoying my full passion, and then go to choir, which I love to sing. Everybody knows that, and I'd be miserable. But like at a certain point, they don't let you cut extracurriculars, so I was just stuck singing church songs.
And it's not that I don't know. Like it was just the fact that we used to sing like fun shit. Like the last concert Mr. Anchor did was like completely Disney themed. So like we were like, and it wasn't just like, hey, we're all standing on these fucking bleachers. Like we were dancing and shit. Like we got choreographed like fucking how to square step and shit. It was fun. Like literally. And then we go into no, you have to wear a white button up, black pants. You're not moving for the fucking full hour concert. You're not even singing like mostly English words half the time. And it's not like it's beautiful music, don't get me wrong. Like it really is beautiful music. I'm not saying it's not. But I joined choir because I just want to have fun. I didn't want to like fucking
He didn't want to be Rob Schneider, right?
Yeah, like 25, he takes it to a knee.
Yeah,
like fucking, I just didn't fuck with that shit. Anyways, moving on. Jumping into the deeper subjects now. Not really. Well, this is kind of a leap from what we were just talking about. But have you ever done drugs and without ratting on yourself? What have you done?
I feel like answering that question in itself is ratting on myself.
This is a setup. This is a sting.
Yep, this is a sting operation. You're fucked.
You don't have to answer that question.
Is ratting myself out. No, completely.
I think not answering it is ratting yourself out.
Yeah, like this just makes it suspicious.
Well, no, because everyone knows that I'm very transparent about like mental health and everything. I think it's very important.
Have you ever done cocaine?
Yes.
Have you done mushrooms?
Yes.
Heroin?
I'm not answering that. Dad watches.
That's disgusting.
I'm not answering questions.
Meth.
No.
Everyone is innocent until proven
guilty. Have you done
guilty.
heroin?
No.
Trying to think of other drugs. Methamphetamine. I know I already asked that, but it's a different name. I tried to trip you up.
No.
Have you done a Quaalude? That's crazy.
What is that?
You've never seen Wolf of Wall Street? They don't make them anymore.
I mean, I've
seen Wolf of Wall Street.
It's like a fucking 4-hour movie.
Have you done Percocet?
No.
Wow, that's crazy.
Why am I having an intervention right now?
Because you need to go to rehab. You've done heroin, bro.
That was like 6 years ago.
That's disgusting. Shawna, 6 years ago, you were like 2 years out of high school.
10 years ago. Yeah, that's
You were 16, bro.
Okay, maybe I wasn't
rat, dude. Scum rat, dude. Gloversville hoodlum.
Thank you.
Where'd you get
Mom
the
and
heroin?
Dad are gonna watch this. Mom and Dad are gonna watch this.
Why? Like, it's nothing.
They're gonna think everything's serious, dude.
Well,
I just want to tell Paul that everyone is innocent until proven guilty by the court of law.
Everything's a joke.
I'm sending this to the county attorney. You've always, excuse me. Jesus Christ. Tell us one of your favorite stories that I probably wouldn't know, or even if I do know it, tell the listeners.
So, does it have to be fun?
I mean, I just said favorite. I mean, I'd prefer if it was funny. Like, it doesn't have to be dark. I know this is dark mode, but...
My favorite story to tell is actually my first night when I went to Florida. Like, I don't know if you remember when I kind of just, like, packed up a car with a girl I met 10 days prior and just went 1,000 miles across the country.
Oh, no, we remember.
I remember for sure. So we had just gotten to Florida. I had never been to Florida. I've never really been anywhere, realistically, other than, like, band trips.
That's how that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways. We'll unpack that maybe in a second episode or something.
Yeah, story after this.
So we got to Florida. Apparently, after parties are a thing there when you go out to the bar. And bars there close at 2 o'clock, which is...
Bro, first off, after parties are a thing except for like when anyone in New York throws a party. Because after every party or wedding I've been to, people came back to the house and we had a party or at our house. Just saying. Like, I fucking coordinated that shit.
But anyone else, no. Like, for us, it's normal. For, like, other people, or when you go to a bar, that's not something they typically do. So we had went out. The bars closed at 2. Mind you, my first night, like, fresh out the car. Okay,
my fucking knee just popped. By any chance, you know who B. Rosie is?
Yeah, that's Brittany.
Oh, what up, Brittany? What up, gang? I almost said a bad word. Anyways,
so we go to the bar. I get asked by the girl that I was talking to at the time if I wanted to go to an after party. I was like, sure, I guess. Why not? We go. Mind you, up here, certain phrases and words are not normal. So, like, N-word, hard R, not something you hear on a daily basis, especially at Mayfield, right? So when I would hear it in Florida, I would be taken aback because I'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Florida doesn't abide by any rules or regulations, so.
So I'm in this person's house with the girl that I'm talking to and a bunch of white men, okay? A bunch of white men. There's one male person of color there, and everyone's giving him shit, saying things that should not be said. I look at the girl that I'm talking to, and I was like, hey, I'm getting a little uncomfy. Can we leave? Because
this is not my kind of after party.
Literally, something don't feel right.
This isn't an after party. This is an after lynching. It feels like we need to go.
After lynch.
So they start fighting in the backyard, like fist fighting. So I look at the girl I'm talking to. I was like, listen, like, so I have a really bad feeling. We really need to go. Like, I need to get out of here. I have anxiety. Please, like, at least take me to the car so I don't have to be in the house. Everything starts to calm down, allegedly. I don't know. I'm in the kitchen.
Allegedly.
I'm in the kitchen, and they're all outside. The man leaves. Everyone thinks everything's fine. About 10 minutes later, when everyone's back to, having a good time, he comes in the house with a gun and starts shooting up the kitchen. And at this point, I'm now locked in the master bedroom of the house by myself. The girl I was with walked me in, and she's like, you're going to be safe. Everything's fine. Locked the door behind her and left me in there alone for like an hour. And I'm just sitting there like, what's going on? And I couldn't go home. I'm not the one who drove there. So mom and dad actually didn't know that happened until like a month into me going back and forth between Florida and New York. Because how do you tell your parents after already giving them the concern that you just left and being like, hey, by the way, the first...
You usually just tell them is how things go. Like, you just bring it up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, in Florida, I almost died.
So Brittany says, I love this. She's getting so much information. And then we also have Roby, who said, this is the first time he's seen me in the dark from a brand new account that he created today. Hasn't even followed yet. Just saying, this is the first time he's ever seen me at all. Anyways, so obviously you had an eventful time in Florida. I want to jump to this question here that I had a little bit lower. Would you ever move back or go anywhere else outside of New York?
Outside of New York, for sure. I've always wanted to travel, but like the relationship that I was in for a while, like that, it was not permitted. It was not something that I was able to do at the time. Getting out and going to Florida definitely showed me how much I loved getting out of New York. It was beneficial to my mental health for a while until it wasn't. So I'd go back to Florida for sure. I would not, under any circumstances, go back where I was, because where I was living was known for being like a party town. There was a lot of colleges. There was a lot of bars. It was basically
Why wouldn't you want to go back?
Being where I was enabled a lot of, for lack of better, addictions that I was trying to not have to deal with. And being in that environment, it was so easy to have access to it. It was so cheap to get it that it just, I'm self-aware enough to know that if I were to go back, it would be a shit show, for lack of better wording.
Word.
Like,
good for you.
And visiting you
Wouldn't
and Haley.
Wouldn't realize that.
Going and visiting you and Haley and the family when I did. If I didn't, things would have been a lot different. but like
What do you
you
mean?
can't get on a plane with certain things. So like I didn't really have a choice but to detox for 2 days before I left, and then I was there for 10 days straight.
Yeah. You guys
So
were here
like
for a while.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. It's nice down here. I like it. It made me realize like there's a lot better places than Gloversville and Fulton County and stuff. Like I eventually want to come back and like whether it be to stay or whatever, but I don't know. But I want to own like a home up there just so I can have like a second house and can just go up there whenever the fuck I want and take time and whatever, or rent it out and just have the property. But
Well,
yeah,
that's the thing is like I love it here. Like I love the outdoors. I love the atmosphere here. But when I left, because again, like it was very impulsive for me to leave. Like it was a literal. I made the decision in like 45 minutes. Came home to mom and dad, said I'm leaving. I don't know when I'm coming back.
yeah,
I had to do that. I was so sedentary, so stuck like in a hole that I had dug within myself. That again, if I didn't leave when I did, I don't know who I would be or what like would have happened.
yeah,
The second I got to Florida is when I realized how absolutely fucking horrible being here is for my mental health. I was gone for a year. Everything was, better-ish. When I had to come home, because again, being back home, that was not a decision that I made on my own.
yeah,
Being back here, it was almost instant. The second I walked in the house, because when I got home, mom and dad weren't here. I was home by myself for like 3 days.
yeah,
So being here, it was like all of the weight just right on top of me. I remembered literally everything. And essentially, the lesson to learn from that is running away from your problems does not actually get rid of them.
yeah. No shit.
You have to deal with them eventually.
So obviously, you've mentioned a couple times throughout the pod you've always struggled with mental health. Do you want to talk about that or about some of that? Do you want to mention some of that to the viewers in terms of what you've struggled with?
So, yes, I am a very big advocate for mental health. I believe speaking about it is very important. Unfortunately, like you had mentioned before, my experience in high school was a lot different. So, like guidance counselors, talking to people just in general, mental health wasn't, it's not that they didn't care, but like it wasn't their biggest concern. They were more worried about like your grades, your extracurriculars, this, that, and the third. So, it was more or less, if you don't talk about it, it's fine, it doesn't exist. So I dealt with that for a very long time. It wasn't up until I believe my senior year of high school or even the year after where I actually started, like it clicked. Like, hey, like a lot of people don't actually feel like that. A lot of people don't actually experience things like that. Maybe there is something wrong with me, I guess. I went to therapy when I was in like 8th or 9th grade. That is a situation we do not need to talk about on the podcast. But at that point, again, I didn't want to talk about it. That's what I was taught, not to talk about it. Told the therapist everything they wanted to hear just to get out of it, which please don't do that. Like if you think something's wrong, actually talk about it and get help.
Yeah.
Because now, like 12 years later, 14 at this point, I'm dealing with things that I could have dealt with long, long ago, but now I have to unpack all of it, which makes it 10 times harder because you've repressed things for so long.
Yeah.
Almost like, is what I'm remembering even what actually happened?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about like a lot of that shit on the podcast a little bit. I shouldn't say a lot of it, but like really with men's mental health, like specifically, even now, I mean, no one really gives a fuck about it. I mean, this isn't like a bad comment or anything. I don't want it to be taken the wrong way, but like June is also Men's Mental Health Month, and you didn't see anything about it. You know what I mean? Like little shit like that, and it's like you sit back and think. And I know a lot of kids that struggle now with a lot of mental health problems, but I also know a lot of people that grew up the same mindset like that. I think I did. Like, hey, it's always going to get better, man. Like something is going to go your way. And you need to live that, like, there's highs and lows in life, don't get me wrong, but, like, you're living your lows as low as possible, and you're just letting the high be, like, your normal fucking, like, this is as high as I'll ever be, you know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, and I know that's not anything they can do anything about, but like we've talked, it's the low lows that hurt people the most, but they're not letting their highs be as high as they can be, you know? And I don't mean like highs and like fucking mushrooms. I mean like, oh, I got a new car. Like that's a fucking that's a big deal, you know what I mean? And you just brush it off because somebody shits on you, and that's part of where the ball rolls, you know?
That's the thing though, is it's so easy, speaking only for myself because I can't speak upon other people. It's so easy to get invested and fall into the lows. Like, for example, I have borderline personality disorder. I also have bipolar disorder. So that means that my low lows are extremely low. Like a normal situation for someone, a normal person with like normal mental health getting fired from a job, they would just be like, okay, cool. I'll figure it out. That job wasn't for me. Me, on the other hand, with how my brain is wired, I'm about to wrap my fucking car around a tree if that happens. Like, my low lows are very, very low, but my high highs are very, very high. The only issue is that with the high highs, immediately after that ends...
Yeah, you don't know how to maintain it.
There's no happy medium.
Yeah. Like, so, like, for me, like, I mean, we all go through shit. We all have, like, fucking thoughts go through our head at, like, weird times where we're just like, damn, I really miss my friends, or like whatever, or man, I feel like I got fucking nobody around me. We all go through that shit, you know? And for me, like, it sucks because, like, I don't have anybody here. Haley doesn't have any family here, so we like having people down and visiting because, like, as of now, like, this is our home. As much as New York will always be home, like, this is our home base now. And we want people to feel at home down here just as much as up there. We want people to come here for holidays and stay here or do things because it's those little things, you know what I mean, that help out a lot.
Well, like, that's how it was when I was in Florida because, like, I used to tell you and Hill all the time, like, I am so grateful that Kane has Haley to be there because, again, I went and I left. I didn't know anybody. So my Thanksgiving in Florida, I spent on FaceTime with you, Mom, Dad, and everybody else. Same thing with Christmas. If I hadn't flown home to come home and be home for Christmas, I would have been alone.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't talk about that. Was going to Florida beneficial for me? Yes, it was a blessing most of the time. But being so far away from not only like everything that I've ever known and everyone that I've ever known, I was completely and utterly isolated and by myself because I didn't know anyone. So the friends that you make when you move, I don't even talk to half of them anymore, but they were very helpful when I was there by myself.
Yeah, see, like, I think about that a lot because, I mean, obviously I moved away from home, so there's a lot of people that I don't talk to back home still, or anymore, that probably don't even fucking think about me or anything. I mean, obviously I still think about them, like they were my friends, whatever. But, like, I think of moving away from here, and it's like, man, I lose all these connections I made down here. You know, and like a lot of them I do think are for life because just like the way we've built our friendships and shit like that. But there's so many people, just especially working the car business, that I've met in the last 2.5 years, been here almost 3 years, where now I sit back and think and be like, holy shit, I forgot about that person. And it's been 2 years, you know what I mean? And I may have worked with them for a year or even 6 months and they were just poof gone. Because they either quit, got fired, went somewhere else, or moved away, and now I'm like, oh, shit. And, like, there's very few people that I've worked with or met down here that I genuinely talk to most of the time, one of them being Anthony, JP. I still talk to, like, my old boss. Like, shit like that I know will last for a while, but there's so many people that I met down here that are just, like, worthless. Like, I don't want to say, like, worthless people, but, like, I didn't have a meaning to meet them. You know what I mean? Yeah, like they were a side character like, in my fucking movie. You know what I mean? And that's not egotistical or anything by any means. I'm just saying, like,
benefit or like negatively
because like people I went to high school with or grew up with, I still think about all the time, and even people that only moved to our school for a year or two that I still think about today because, like, Brandon Ackwit's a really good friend of mine. He didn't go to our school until, like, 9th or 10th grade, and me and him are really good friends. Things like that it's crazy to think about that if I never moved here or Anthony never moved here and JP never got moved out to Ford instead of working at Toyota, like, we would have never met each other. We would have never been as close. Like, We actually talked about this on Saturday, that if he had never came out to Ford, he would not be the person he is today, just because of meeting like me and Anthony.
That's how it is with me when I went to Florida. Because when I went down, I joined like a group on Facebook. It was like Tampa 25 and up or something. It was like a bunch of people who had just moved there that were in my age group. So I met like hundreds of people.
Yeah.
And we all were in this group. We all interacted on Facebook. Do I remember half of their names? Absolutely not. But like 2 or 3, I spent a majority of my time with, especially when I moved out on my own and had my own place down there. Mm-hmm. Do I talk to them every day? No. But like my friend Sage, we talk at least like once a week. Like she's still very much a part of my life. And it's insane to think that like if I didn't just join a silly little Facebook page, granted, again, like you said, there was hundreds, maybe I think there was like 2,000 people in the group as a whole, because it was just like a page on Facebook. Could not tell you more than 5 people that were in it, but they were there. Like we had parties, we would go to parties in Clearwater. Like,
I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
I have no idea who they are now.
Yeah.
It's like they never even existed.
So what's one thing you think you would change about things that you've done and all that, like in your entire life? What's one thing that you think you would change? We asked Hilda, and me and Travis have already kind of given our answer on that. So
I know I say a lot of the time, I wonder what I would be like if a lot of my trauma, like if I didn't go through a lot of what I went through. But at the same time, I think the one biggest thing that I would change, regardless of like any relationship I've been in, how long it took for me to get out, this, that, and the third, the one thing that I would have done is I would have taken my time with leaving instead of doing it the way that I did. Yeah. That's the only regret this time, because again, it was impulsive. Was it a good idea? It could have been. It could have been executed great, but I didn't have a job, left my car here, didn't have money, and I just up and left, thinking this is gonna make everything better. And for the first like 4 months, things were not getting better. Like, I definitely want to go and move somewhere outside of upstate New York, but I want to be able to do it the correct way. I want to save up, get a car, have my own place, not move in with somebody else. I also would. The number one thing I would 100% change is how fast I get into like actual relationships, because that's questionable. Work on that. Taking my time. I've been single for quite a bit, which is like insane to me, not normal. But I'm learning a lot more about myself, and that because with having BPD, it's a trauma-based disorder. So like if I get triggered, if someone reminds me of something that I went through before, i.e. any situation I went through in my 6-year-long relationship, I act out of character, and I act like somebody that's not myself, out of like a fight or flight in a defensive way. And 90% of my symptoms from that and like the way that I act are non-existent when I'm not in a relationship.
So are you and Brittany in a relationship? Asking the question on live public feed. I
told her you were gonna ask.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hang out a lot.
Because like, no, we're not in a relationship. I'm not in a relationship with anyone at this time.
I mean, it seems like it's getting pretty serious.
No, we just, if I'm being honest, we literally just hang out and we just talk, which is not something that I've had. Every time I've met someone, it's very fast and it turns into a relationship. I'm not looking for a relationship right now. I'm in a relationship with myself. I need to learn and get to know myself outside of situations like that before I can involve another person in that way.
All right, respect for that.
Let me ask you this then. Give some dating advice to our listeners.
Don't. That's a joke.
That's not gonna help.
No.
They're already not doing that.
I know. So
they get no bitches.
So do you want advice on how to get them, or like how to have a healthy one? Like what are we looking for?
How to have a healthy one, because they're lost hopes. They have to learn on their own.
So
just calling out all the TKT podcast listeners right now. Y'all get no bitches.
Very, very long.
Y'all get no bitches.
Long string of toxic relationships. As my brother knows, I've been in abusive relationships. I've been in toxic relationships. I've been in relationships that a lot of my family don't even know about because it wasn't worth really talking about at the time, and it's still not. What I would say in regards to having a healthy relationship is kind of what I'm doing now. Get to know yourself first. Get to know and sit down and create like not a physical list, but like a list of non-negotiables, things that you are 100% not willing to negotiate on. Because once you put those things to the side for a relationship, simply because you're attracted to a person or you love them, that's when you start neglecting yourself.
You lose yourself.
You have to realize, when am I going to stop hurting myself for another person? It's nice to sacrifice. I am a firm believer that true love is about sacrificing for the person that you care about. But at some point, you have to realize, are they doing the same thing for you? Because if they're not, baby, you're in the wrong place. You're not doing the right thing with the right person.
Word.
Anyone can give you anything, but if it's not coming from the right person with good intentions, it's not worth your time.
Word.
Anyone can tell you.
That was valid.
Anyone can tell you whatever they want to say, but without actual actions proving that.
Facts. Preaching, you got to practice what you preach. Just saying. Anyways.
I'm doing my best. My BESTS is trying. We're trying.
Getting off of kind of the harder subjects to round off this little podcast here. I asked Hill this, and I think you're going to have a very different answer, is what's your favorite cheap food that we had growing up? Like your favorite, your favorite poor food that we had. Like hamburger and beans, sloppy Joe mac and cheese, like that type of shit. Shit on a shingle, hobo burgers, like.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't like any of it. I ate it because I had to eat it.
You had to have one favorite of them.
I don't eat meat anymore, so like I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah, what's the shit that you're vegan now? I saw you post on. You're not vegan, bro. You eat cheese all the time.
Bro, it was a joke.
Yeah, fucking better be.
Bro, it was a joke.
I saw that post the other.
So you don't eat meat, or you do?
She doesn't eat meat, but she said she's vegan. She's like chicken every now and then.
No, I barely eat chicken.
I said every now and then.
Yeah. Meat-wise, vegetarian all the fucking way. There's a lot of reasons why, but I'm going to hold it up to A, the texture, and B, that fucking video they made us watch in elementary school where they showed you how everything's made. I can't take looking at a chicken nugget and seeing it decapitated.
See, like, I have a coworker. I don't think he listens to the podcast. This isn't like a bash on him or anything. His name's Marcel. And he doesn't eat anything like that because of like how things are made and like how we like produce our meats and shit now. And like to the extent I understand it, but like he legit, this is 100% truth. I'm not bullshitting you when I tell you this, that he justifies eating meat or cheating on Sundays. Only does it on Sundays or like once a week. It's typically Sundays. He justifies it by imagining killing the animal in his head. And like
that's half my problem.
Wait,
that's why
he's like if you're hunting it like you're earning the meal, you're using the parts of the body, and I'm like, yeah, but like what are you eating? He'll be like, oh, I'll eat like a chicken breast or something like that, like random food. And we said something when we were moving the store to the new store, and I was like, it's almost like you fantasize about it. And Ricky was like, nah, no way. And Marcel was like, nah, like that's actually kind of exactly what it is. I was like, you do understand what I mean by like fantasize, right? Like you know what that term means. And I was like, there's no other meaning to fantasize. Like you fantasize that in your head. Like it not necessarily arouses you, but like it makes you feel good because you are doing this, eat the animal. And he was like, yes. Like it makes me feel better about eating it. And I was like, that's fucking weird. Anyways. So, yeah, that's how he justifies eating it. And I sat back and thought about that for a little while. And I was like, that makes no fucking sense. So you're mad at us for becoming efficient in hunting and killing?
Why doesn't he go do it then?
No, but it's not even just that. Like I'm asking you that question too. Like it upsets you with how we produce food, which I do get. I understand it is kind of gruesome. You just said it was.
No, mine stems from the fact that them making us watch it, that was fucking traumatic for me. And, like, at that point, like, realistically, I can eat a hamburger. I'm not going to be happy about it. I genuinely don't like the taste or the texture that it puts in my mouth. Pork chops, no. Get that away from me. I don't even want to look at it. I'll cook a steak. I just cooked Mom, Dad, and Brittany steaks tonight. I have no problem doing that. Everyone eats whatever they want. But at the same time, because of that event in itself and just, like, health
You know what
issues.
this just reminded me of the song called Pillow Talking by Lil Dicky, because him and the girl in that music video, that's what they start talking about that. And he was like, so you're mad because like we became efficient. And like to the extent, yes, it's not necessarily efficiency, but it's like how are you going to use that as like a means to not eat it? And like the biggest argument a lot of people have is like, oh, you don't need meat to survive, which you don't need meat. You don't need meat to survive. Now, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, or it's more than that, but like thousands of years ago when Neanderthals and shit were fucking coming up, if we didn't have meat, our brains would not have developed. You know what I mean? Like thousands of years ago, before fucking real humans walked, if they did not eat meat, if they did not figure out how to hunt and kill animals, our brains and muscle would, not that they would die, they would not have progressed into the intelligence level that current human beings have. It's a known, like, fucking step-by-step evolution fact that if people didn't eat meat, we would not be as smart and intellectual as we are today. Do we need it? No, but I don't know what that means for us getting better. But it's also, like, look at the 1980s, 1990s. Bottled water wasn't a fucking thing. Like, you didn't drink water in the fucking 20s to 60s. That's why Prohibition was such a big deal, because no one was just out drinking water. Like, you couldn't just readily go somewhere and grab water unless you were at someone's house. It just wasn't a thing. It wasn't safe enough to fucking drink.
I still don't think it is, but that's besides the point.
Well, I mean, it's not in some places, but it's like yogurt. This shit was manufactured in like the late 70s, and you're like, now all of a sudden it's an essential part of our diet? That's the shit that don't make sense to me, bro. That's the shit that don't make sense to me.
Almost everything that we eat is not, like, for lack of a better wording, real. Like, it's manufactured, it's fucked with, like, something had to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's gonna fucking happen. But I'm talking about, like, genuine purified water was not a thing until, like, 1985 or some shit. Again, I'm gonna fucking look it up because it's like...
We left out when we were born because I would have gone insane. Like, what were they drinking?
Hold on.
I need to know.
I want to look up, like, debut, but I can't think of the word.
The best source had to be, like, well water back in the day.
Yeah. I'm trying to fucking find it.
Brittany texted me and said, why did Kane get such a cool name and then you and your sister got regular names? Hillary's name was going to be Wolfgang, first of all. So don't say shit. And Dad still to this day tries to convince me, and I've talked to Mom. Mom has confirmed. Dad wanted to name me Harlequin Marie Wilder, and Mom shut it down. And sir, you should have fought harder for that.
So bottled water didn't become increasingly popular until 1850, when dip molding made glass bottles cheaper. Entrepreneurs began bottling those popular waters and selling them in drugstores. So it wasn't even like in grocery stores.
It was like
single-use plastic water bottles exploded onto the market not until the late 1980s. Like, this is what I'm saying, bro. You couldn't just go and get water.
16 years later, I was born.
You could not just get water readily available until like the, you know, no, like they were drinking water, but it's single use, like glass bottles, like just like milk. Like you couldn't just go to the store and buy a 30 rack of water. Couldn't. Wasn't a thing. Wasn't a thing. Me and my boss were talking about this today, bro. Like, that's why Prohibition was such a big thing, because most people drank alcohol to stay hydrated in, like, the fucking 10s, 20s, and 30s. Swear to God.
Dad would have been thriving.
Yeah. Like,
Dad would have
thrived.
It's fucking crazy to think.
I'm the healthiest motherfucker.
So, moving off of this, because I could talk about this weird-ass shit all night. What is... I know, that's why I need to move off of it. What is your favorite memory of us, me and you? Or like me, you, and Mom, me, you, and Dad, me, you, Hill, like whatever. Me and you have to be present.
One of, like, my most, like, what is the phrase I want to use? Something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, which, like, the last few years, obviously, is Fridays at 11 a.m. when we would all go to McDonald's with Nana. That's been heavy on my brain. But also, like, my favorite memory of you is, first, somehow, and I'll use the phrase womb to the tomb, because, like, Kane and I, there's some type of telepathic something going on. Anytime I was upset, I didn't talk to anybody. I very much lived in a time during childhood. This motherfucker would burst open my door and just start doing weird shit in the doorway and then leave. Just dip. No phrase, no words, no communication. Gone.
That's just like a brother thing.
Well, I can't be sad now. Like, what the fuck?
That's just like a brother thing. I think we all do that type of shit.
I don't know. I only had one brother, so.
Yeah, shout out to me.
Shout out to Kane.
The GOAT. What's your favorite memory of the TKT podcast? Before you answer, Travis, can you look up Riley's question? I forgot. I always forget to do that.
Question.
Yeah, because you also have to have a question for the next guest. So what is your favorite TKT podcast moment?
Dad.
Like the whole episode? That was a good episode.
Dad, like in person? Yes.
I like Dad. I think Dad's and Troy's episode are my two favorite.
I love Dad's episode.
What was that? That just got really loud for some reason.
Listen, the light turned brighter earlier. I didn't touch that. TV just started talking.
Remember Jack's old TV that he gave me that would just like make really fucking loud noises? Bro, I brought that up to Haley the other day. She was like, I don't remember that. I was like, bro, that was my TV for like the first 2 years we had it. Like we were together, and then it just we would just be watching and be like, whee! Fucking screaming, dude.
Don't forget about me. I'm right here.
Dude, it would be fucking like middle of the night, wake you up, fucking scare the shit out of you. I brought that up to Haley like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, yeah, you do. Because that was the whole reason why I had a soundbar in my room at first before we got the Vizio one was because of that TV. It didn't work.
Yeah.
And then it would just fucking... Fuck,
okay, you want to say hi?
I wish I caught that shit on video once. Like, I wish I had that shit.
Come on. Come say hello. The fans need
I don't think I've ever met her.
In person? No.
No. There's a paw. Jesus Christ, how are you picking her up? My God.
Say
hello,
hi.
Puppy.
Yeah.
It looks like she just woke up from a nap.
We got a problem.
What? Phone died?
No.
Riley didn't ask the question.
Episode 45, Riley joins the pod to kill time. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my thing, but it's the same episode as Hills.
What the fuck?
It's the same as episode 44.
You're kidding.
No.
Yeah, what the fuck? How did that happen? They're different lengths.
Yeah, I have no idea. Dude, I thought I was losing my mind.
That's so fucking weird. Because my dad texted me, he was like, hey, I listened to your pod. Like, you should have asked him different questions.
Yeah, because Dad watches YouTube on the TV.
I wonder if... Oh, so that's probably why. Maybe the YouTube one's right. I must have selected the wrong file. Either way, I can change that after. That's so fucking weird.
Bugging out. I was like, am I doing something wrong here?
That's so fucking weird. Yeah, Slates just said he was watching Riley's episode.
When do we ask the question?
What do you mean?
Definitely towards the end.
Yeah, it's always like right. It's the last.
I'm gonna go try to find it.
All right, so episode 45. That's it right there, yeah. Let me make sure this is like the right audio.
What is your... I know you...
Oh my God, it's taking like forever. All right, let me just hit save. Almost there. It's processing currently. Hold on. Should update momentarily. Anyways, so what is your question for the next guest? We don't know who it is yet, so.
That's hard.
Why?
Well,
Anything.
I don't know what Riley's question is, so like I don't want to ask the same question and look like a ding dong.
I don't think you will.
The odds of that are insanely low.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like literally any question, whatever you need to ask.
Do you like horror movies? And if you do, what's your favorite?
See, boom, look at that. What a
That's
great
a neat
question.
question.
Way to go.
I like
buddy.
that.
You really just nailed it.
I
there. You
love
really
horror
figured it
movies,
out.
by the way. It's my favorite kind.
Really?
Maybe Scream had to.
What is that?
I said
Scream?
really?
That is so gas.
I know.
I mean, there's
When did you
obviously
get that?
Insidious movie that
We'll
comes
leave it
out
at
tomorrow.
that.
I got this.
That comes out tomorrow.
What does?
Yes, the new Insidious.
Insidious.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to go see that.
Obviously, like
I
you
got
said,
this
you have
mo-
this.
I
I'm
got
so
this.
fucking confused.
It was after Scream 4, so like after 2011, obviously, because I was not old enough to get a tattoo. I want
Oh
to
yeah,
say it was
because we all knew when that came out, like off the top of our head.
Did you
I
go
would-
and see the new Scream?
yes.
Yeah.
I never got a chance to.
I saw it the day before it came out.
Was it good?
Yes.
My
I-
favorite is Halloween. I
look,
love Michael Myers.
Until
Everyone
like we all
fucking
start.
loves Halloween.
Why did I fucking do that?
Even though I'd fuck
Yeah.
him up personally, but
I'm so confused about this fucking podcast. Anyways, we will have to ask the next viewer 2 questions because I can't fucking get it to upload on Spotify. But it's the right audio file. I just checked RSS. It's all the right audio file. So I don't know if they got like fucking crossed up
Yeah, I
or
don't know.
like what, because it's right on YouTube and it's right in the fucking audio file. But
right.
anyways, guys, I don't have anything else for Shawna. Do you guys have anything else for Shawna?
I think
I'm
we're all
listening
set.
podcast to try to find the question.
It would be like right at the end. It's the last. It's like the last question.
I'm at 50:43.
Is it Riley?
Yeah.
Friday, we're actually going to your parents.
43.
I did. Unless
59.
it
Was it after?
43.
What, if anything, is too serious to talk about? We're
So
gonna have
that-
fucked up.
So that was Hill's question for him. So it'd be right after that.
Day, and what are some of the things that you go through on a day-to-day basis that just
It really all just depends. You know, yeah, it's definitely a situation.
This is like very
Do you have a
live
question
fucking technical
for our
difficulties.
next guest? Yeah, hold on. That was a part of the thing too, wasn't it? Yep, that's a requirement we have.
That's a requirement.
That is. What was your favorite Disney movie growing up?
Oh yeah, because we did talk about that. I remember that now.
So Disney,
Yours has to
Disney,
be
and
Hercules.
Pixar are different. Yes, Disney is Hercules. Pixar is Toy Story 1 through 4, almost 5.
All of them? Are they coming out with 5 or no?
Yes.
Whoa, quiet.
I
down,
love that you
Jesus
knew
Christ.
that Hercules was my favorite. I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
you fucking post it on your Snapchat like once a week.
It's my listen. I watch it when I'm sad, so like that says a lot.
Yeah, yeah. That's the point.
That's the problem. If I'm watching it and I tell everyone that I meet, like friends, relationships, doesn't matter. If you come home or you come over and I'm watching it, I've either had the worst possible day of my life or I've had the best possible day of my life. Don't ask questions because you're not gonna want to know.
I
Just
see.
let me watch.
I think mine is obviously Cars, but if I had to pick,
You can only
one-
have the worst possible day of your life once. Just keep that in mind next time.
but it can always be worse.
It can always get worse, buddy. I feel like your classic Disney movie would definitely be The Lion King.
Nah, it's probably. I would probably say Fox and the Hound. I think that's a Disney movie.
Oh, true. I forgot that.
Or it's either that. I'm trying to think of like all the classic movies,
Dude, I need to go watch like Brother Bear again.
bro. Like I wasn't a big fan.
I love that movie.
Like it's a great movie, but like I think I watched it like twice as a kid.
I'm obsessed with the Brave movie. Little redheaded lady.
I think I've only ever seen that like one time.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you do.
I've also been on a Lilo and Stitch kick for the last few weeks. I don't know.
See, like those are the movies I can't
First
watch
one,
anymore,
though.
man.
What's the first one?
Like I can't watch them anymore.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Love
Again.
Ratatouille.
I can't watch like Lilo and Stitch or like I can watch like Lion King, but I can't watch Lilo and Stitch or like movies like that anymore.
I can only watch the first one. If you put the second one on, I will
First
not be
one?
able to sit and watch it. The ADHD just I can't.
First
There's
one.
2. technically 3
What?
Lilo and Stitch movies.
Did the TV show or the movie come first?
The first movie came first. There's also this theory going on that Lilo and Stitch, which like Stitch is an alien/dog apparently, if you ask children, that they're both autistic, and that's the main reason why I watched the movie, because I was like, nah. There's no way they did that intentionally, but like when you watch it, like if it wasn't intentional,
She said,
she got a case of the tism, buddy. She bit a girl. So,
I don't know if that like means. Is that what that means?
no, I'm just saying, like, my version of the Discord thing is like weird right now.
Yeah, Travis's computer must have died because his thing keeps.
"Can you guys hear me?"
Yeah, we can hear you. Your camera just keeps turning on and off.
Yeah, my camera's.
Like I keep moving
What's
down,
going
and then
on?
you're like moving up.
Yeah, it keeps moving.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
You're good. Anyways, guys, we don't have any more questions for Shawna, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the TKT podcast, Studio Time podcast, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, as well as leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Shawna, make sure you share this with all your friends, because I know you have
It was
countless
great having you on.
amounts of friends. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for opening up about some sensitive subjects. We thoroughly appreciate it. Anyways, guys, we will see y'all in the next one.